Well, dear students and other participants of this course on farm machinery, which you have been hearing, or you might have gone through this course for the last 6 weeks or so. Well, I welcome you to this live session, the first live session for farm machinery subject. Well, over the last 6 weeks, I think you have gone through the various lectures. The aim of this course was to prepare in such a way that it is not only meant for undergraduates, but it was meant for postgraduates as well as the engineers, practicing engineers who are there in the field, those who are there in the industries, and even the persons who do not have any training in farm machinery. I mean those who are not trained in agricultural engineering as such, but they belong to farm mechanical engineering or any other subject, but working in the area of tractor system design or machinery design, etc. For that also this course will be beneficial, because we wanted to put in the last 30 years of my experience into this particular subject in such a way that all these stakeholders should be in a position to understand as to how to design and what are the practical problems which are encountered in the field by a power source as well as a machine, and what are the new features which need to be included in the design for the growing need of the farmers. Well, we have started in the beginning looking into the various aspects of why mechanization and things like that, and then we ventured into mechanization is a must, and then after that we thought of the various machinery required for the various operations. Well, in those we have talked of the specific machines, for example, the power sources to start with, and then we have gone to different particular equipment which are meant for, say for example, tillage, then to seeding, then to interculture, then plant protection, harvesting, threshing, and then finally testing and all that. And I am sure you have gone up to the 6th week and maybe 7th week is live. We wanted to have a live session so that we can have interaction with you and we can understand as to which way you have understood this problem, through problem as well as the whole course which we wanted to deliver to you, and we wanted to share the knowledge which we have at our place. In fact, we have started with the very basics of what is existing in a particular area. For example, if you are talking of tillage or if you are talking of seeding, what is the initial and the fundamental way of seeding, and what are the developments in various types of seeding equipment. Then we have gone to maybe microprocessor based or microcontroller based seeding equipment, and then also fertilizing equipment, where we have talked of how the seed should be delivered, what are the ways by which we can deliver the fertilizer, and how best and precise way we can deliver all these inputs. Because today is the age of precision agriculture. We are talking of equipment, or we are talking of modern technology to be used in agriculture, because the aim is to minimize the input cost, and it is only possible because of the various technologies which have come. We might have seen that the other locations in the world where the area is very, very large, of course, a lot of mechanization has taken place. In our country, or mostly in the Asian countries, we can see that still things are not to that extent well. Some of the Asian countries do have, but in India, if you are talking, we have majority of the people who are small and marginal farmers. So, looking into these requirements, we have also talked of what are the technologies which are going to take up and be produced in large number in the next 4 to 5 years, and those will be the technologies, for example, variable rate fertilizer application, the microcontroller based seeding equipment, then spraying equipment, and then maybe we can talk of harvesting equipment, such as we had talked of the robots. Maybe these are difficult areas in which robots can be employed. So, the various aspects right from the beginning to the end we have tried. Well, uh, we have also, in order to explain the things in a better way, or to give more clarity to the theory which is there, we have shown the whole equipments working in the field. Then we have also talked of certain problems, numericals, which will help you in understanding the concept of the design. We have talked of the various designs as well of the equipment. And then, which is another requirement which we have included, is the testing, because many a times when the agriculture engineer is there and various manufacturers are coming up with different types of designs of the same equipment, various manufacturers, and then it is very essential that the consumer gets a good quality machine, whatever is the type, whatever is the variation in the machine which is available to him from different manufacturers, but they should be good in quality, so that when he uses, he does not face a problem of downtime or failure while it is working. So, for that, in fact, we have talked of the testing, because testing etc. Are important from the point of view of replaceability of the parts, and these you can say the total downtime which is there, and hence the capacity of the equipment, the efficiency of the system, efficiency of the overall system, more output per unit of time. So, it is very essential. So, we have talked of testing of the equipment as well, and we have talked of the modern methods and the standard methods which are being followed all over the world. We have talked of the reference of what is followed outside the world, which is American Society of Agricultural and Biological Engineers standards. Then what we are having standards, or which are being followed in India. We have given those things. We have discussed that what are these tests, how far these tests should be conducted, what should be the duration of these tests, whether it is a short term test or a long term test, various aspects we have talked of. Now, one of the equipment for tillage operations, see, you might have seen that it is being used in a large number by the farmers, and this is the rotavator. And so, we have talked of the design of the rotavator. Various designs of rotavators have come, various blades have come, the materials of construction of this. So, we have talked about the features of this, we have talked about the design of this, we have also picked up a problem on that, and we have discussed that and shown it to you. If you have gone through the lectures the way I am talking, I am sure you must have appreciated certain aspects of our effort that we have put in. Well, over the weeks, we have also tried to answer some of the questions through the assignments which you had given. Well, we had given assignments. I got a feedback that about 48% say that the assignments are not of the PPT which we are talking, or the lecture which I am delivering. But I was, I think, I was not sure whether that's correct, because I suppose if you have followed my lecture, I am sure the questions which we have given in the assignments are all from the lecture that I have delivered. Some might be from the PPT and some might be from what I have talked, but then definitely everything is within the gamut of what we have discussed in various lectures that I have given. So, if you have followed that, I am sure you would have answered that, and we have answered some of the queries, and we hope that there was not a big mistake that we have done in the process. We have tried to avoid such things right in the beginning itself, but then we did not get much except one or two here and there, where because of the typographical mistake, I think we had to retrieve one of the questions in one of the assignments that we had given. Well, apart from this, actually, when we are talking of the introduction of machinery, we are also we do not get these things particularly when we are talking of agriculture and farm machinery, but then there are equipment also required for irrigation, there are equipment also required for state machinery, or machinery required for the reclamation of land, which is very essential, and many times these are being used in construction industry, even in the infrastructure industry, road making, and then various locations where they are being used. You might have seen that our tractor is being used for haulage operations, and you might have seen that there are several trailers are connected one after the another for being taken from one place to another with the, loads of material on that, particularly the straw, which you might have seen. So, it is greater use of such vehicles have come up. We talked of the various aspects of tractor, particularly when we are talking of how much power is available from tractor. You see, we talked of the equipment which is available and how much of power of the tractor is being utilized. It is very essential. You know that when we talk of this, we find that hardly 60% of the power is available at the drawbar, and we discussed what exactly is drawbar. I had also shown you the an old tractor where the weight distribution are totally different. The weight distribution today and the tractors today are very much well balanced. For a two-wheel drive tractor, we get about 35% on the front axle and about 65% on the rear axle, and for a two-wheel drive we had talked of about 50% on both the axles which are there. We talked of what are the types of what are the details of other features of tractor. For example, many people do not know about details of what is the specification of a tire. Many places even students are not aware. So, we talked of these details in the field. We have shown them as to what are the wheel tread and wheel base, and then how do we actually calculate the diameter of a wheel, or what do we mean by specification of a equipment or a specification of a tire of a tractor, whether it is a front tire or a back rear tire. We talked of the PTO which is there. In fact, we must have, if you have gone through, we discussed that the three power outlets of tractor are the PTO, which is in fact the least used, but most output power you get from there. Then the next is drawbar, and the third is the hydraulic power. Although we did not talk of hydraulic power, I might have talked of in one of my class. I do not know whether you have gone through that or not. Maybe it will come when we talk of some of the machines. We have discussed about the hydraulic system, but not in detail, because hydraulic system as such, it is a course that we talk for about one semester course. But then I have just talked of how hydraulic power is being used for the various operations. All the earth moving machinery, in fact, we use this power, because mechanical power is not possible to be used. We have also talked of some of the advanced transmission which are being used in the tractor, and how we can utilize these aspects in the design of the various equipment and utilization of the power. We talked of the combination tillage, because as such I said that we are not in a position to know how much of power is being utilized by the equipment which is connected. So, we are talking of combination tillage. We talked of the static, and then we are talking of dynamic, or we can say that we are talking of passive, active and passive like this. Well, we generally mean if something is moving, then we are talking of active, and then passive which is not moving, but like your cultivator and all that, when it is a passive equipment, and one says a rotavator is a active equipment. When we club these together, you get better utilization, because one of them gives a front thrust and requires lesser power, and that is why we are in a better position to have two things being done in one pass. So, the combination tillage also has been talked of. We have talked of the design of some of the equipment. Say for example, we have talked of the thresher design. I am sure you have not gone through that, but then once it comes, we will talk of that in my next live session. If we have any questions, if are there, we would like to answer. But in the details of the lectures, I will still request you that please go through the lectures, and if you have any questions there, you can put forward those questions and we will be in a position to answer to you in due course, not only today, but maybe also later we will be in a position to answer that. Some of the students also feel that this course will be helpful for their GATE or not. Yes, I think that if you have gone through that, we have made it in such a way, or we have prepared in such a way that if you really follow each and every aspect of it, I am sure you will be in a better position to answer the questions which come in GATE, particularly with respect to agriculture engineering, particularly farm machinery and power, because in this you get food processing also, and then land and water resources engineering as well, which is there in the agriculture engineering paper, which is there in GATE. But then these farm machinery portions, I am sure you will be in a position to answer if you follow this thoroughly. Well, I have a question. Is it possible? Is it feasible to introduce combination tillage in context of soil compaction? Is it feasible to introduce combination tillage in context of soil compaction? I think there is some ambiguity. I don't know. You mean to say that if there are combination tillage, you think that there will be compacting it? I don't think that the compaction will take place, because when we are talking of active passive, the combination is active passive. So, I am sure that there will not be any compaction taking place here. If I have understood the question all right, I am sure that there is no question of soil compaction when you have a combination tillage equipment, because we are talking of active passive or a passive active. If active passive is there in the even if the active passive, the passive ones are say cultivator, so it will not compact the soil. Well, depending upon this, if you are talking of black cotton soil, if you are talking of there and you in combination tillage, but even then I do not think that this is going to compact the soil. Well, that, but still I feel that questions should be more clarity in this. If you have any other question, you can put me, because this question doesn't put me into saying that soil compaction takes place because of introduction of the combination tillage. Well, there is a question from Pooja Nand Gopal. Question is, what is this? Booked for experience references. Oh, books for references. I think if you have seen the first announcement, there we have already said that you can follow a book by Kalpin, farm machinery by Kalpin, or the three authors book which we have for farm machinery. And well, I have made a combination of the tractor power and farm machinery together. So, you can also follow a book on tractor power, because some of the things which are there in tractor power, I have tried to put them, because I have been teaching farm machinery, I have been teaching farm machinery design, I have been teaching tractor power, and that is why I mixed them together. So, as such, if you follow any book, you will get all these. Okay. What is the farm mechanization index? FM, power utilized by Well, power farm mechanization index, did I not explain to you there? Well, when we are talking power mechanization index, we are talking power utilized by a particular machine, that the total power used in the farm. This is what we are talking of, how much is the power utilized by a machine and what is the total power used in the farm. So, that is how we talk with respect to the farm mechanization index as such. I think this explanation was given earlier. Well, Saurabh, there is a question. What is the level of automated agricultural machinery in India now? What is the level of automated agricultural machinery in India? Well, automated machinery, in fact, if you talk of, I do not know what exactly you mean by automated agricultural machinery. Do you mean that the machineries which are totally power, for example, now the combines which are coming, combine harvester or sugarcane combines which have come from outside and being used by some of the people here. Some of the machines are there, but these are only being used on large farms. These are being used on large farms. But what is important for you as an agriculture engineer is to look into these and see a reverse engineering on the concept, and can you make it for a small farm. That is what I have focused in my lectures over, during the period. That when you mean automated, you mean to say that more of a automated power. So, without any mechanical, you are talking of a hydraulic system or you are talking of total together. I do not understand this level automated agriculture machinery in India, but I would only say that if you are talking of the machines which are being used by only the driver is driving and the whole process is done. So, we can talk of the combines which are there, we can talk of the laser line leveler which has come, which is in a big way nowadays. We can talk of some of the sugarcane harvesters which have come from abroad and being utilized in the country. So, some of the machines are there. Well, the level could not be said to be a certain percentage of maybe 20% or 30%, but I would like to say the level is very low or this. It could be in certain specific crops, and that too also on large farms, those large farmers are having. This is what I can tell. If you have any other clarity, well, I will be happy to answer that. Well, through these lectures, we have tried to go through various aspects of farm machinery, and as I could answer some of these, I will see that we have in each of our topics, we have considered the latest technology as well, which is being researched at IIT Kharagpur and also at any other place that we know of, and we have tried to introduce you to that, so that you know right from the beginning to the top level or what is happening outside the world. So, we are in tune with that. It is also, you may say that why do you talk of this which is not requirement or not within the capacity of the farmer, but I can say that the requirement is going to come very soon, because less people are available for farming, and then people are having money. If you can create answers, it is possible. Now, people are talking of a tractor or operator-less tractor, but then somebody will say that then what will happen to the operator's job of the operator. But then you will require in some of the conditions where you feel that the safety is a part, then you will require that. So, we need to venture into, you must have seen that we are now talking of, the drones. You see the drones we are talking. What is the level of automated agriculture machinery in India now? Automated means free machinery like drone and, oh, this is what exactly, that is what I was telling. The drone and the drones etc. People are talking of that, but not yet so much used in the agricultural operations as such. We are talking of drones, but because the cost is very high. In fact, we are working at IIT Kharagpur when a small drone which can fly only about 100 meters or so that farmer sitting at one end, from a 1 hectare farm, 100 meter by 100 meter, at least he can attend to the problems of the crop which he has with a small drone. We would like to make a drone which is less than 1 lakh rupees. Now the drones are available which are very costly, and it is not possible for the farmer to buy. But these are being used for various other aspects in India, but not for agriculture. We are talking, people are researching, people are talking that spraying operation is possible, but not yet being used. People are researching, we are also doing one, and tests have been conducted. Now the government has also said that there is no need of no need of any commercial permission for agricultural ones if they are flying at lower level, but the equipment are not available. The various small ones, in fact, if you require for a say about 500 grams lower payload capacity, you will require about 2 lakh rupees or so, the cost of a small one. But then you need some other aspects, because we need to work into that the drone should be able to identify a location. If you want only spraying throughout, then well, it is possible as such. But then if you want to really monitor the crop health, etc., for that work is going on. How much sensor based technology is feasible in semi-arid regions? Yeah, why not? In fact, it's possible. How much of best technology, in fact, the more and more we can apply to answer some of the problems, they will be accepted by the farmers and they will be welcomed. In fact, all the locations we are trying to work with sensors, because we want to know, say for example, we in the area where the moisture is a problem, where we are dry areas, we want to maintain the moisture. So we would like to have a sensor, online sensor, so that when the sensor is there in the field and the tractor goes, and it can we can irrigate, or we can find out what is the nutrient content of the soil. So definitely we will be in a position to apply the amount of nutrient, whether it is an NPK, and that should be applied at the back of the tractor. So there is need for a online sensor which can find out what are the details of a soil in any area, in any locations. So there is lot sensor based technology, in fact, is the requirement today. People are working, various non-agricultural people are venturing into this. I have been seeing the projects which are submitted for various competitions, and even for funding. We find that people who are not in agriculture engineering, or who have knowledge, domain knowledge of computers and electronics, they are venturing into this. So it is good, why not? If you are an agriculture engineer, come in contact, have a group or a team made with the electronics engineers or a computer scientist and the engineer, and then try to do some of the equipment on sensor based. We are also working at IIT Kharagpur. Some of the publications that you see here, IIT Kharagpur, you will find. And this is the new technology. All of you as an agricultural engineer or as an engineer, you must see in the 21st century and beyond, we will be only talking of sensors, we will be talking of drones, we will be talking of robots. So do not think that this technology, because we all talk that we are talking of poor farmers. No, there is a, if you make a technology available, the farmer will be able to, will like to have this technology if it is beneficial to him. So remember that, do not go by the cost. Today you talk of the technology and a viable technology. If you can do that, I am sure it will help you. Thank you. Oh yes, in future any plan on ergonomics course? Well, ergonomics is my first love. In fact, I have guided several PhDs and MTechs and BTechs in ergonomics, and my thesis is in ergonomics. A lot of my publications, if you see, you will find is in ergonomics. Ergonomics, there is a possibility, but depending upon the requirement, I can give this course, because we have a lot of information related to the ergonomics related to agriculture equipment design. So, in fact, a course on engineering equipment design, ergonomics in engineering equipment design, I have been offering at IIT Kharagpur. So, yes, there is a possibility, why not? What will the paper for specification pattern for certificate examination? Well, you must have been told that what is the way they will be finding out your total marks. You know that certain percentage is also given on the assignments that you have submitted. So, something will be there from the assignments. Maybe if you have thoroughly done the assignments and got marks, you will be benefited doubly, because there you got certain percentage of the marks, and then certain portion, maybe 25% of that will be will be taken from your result. Even we might have certain questions from there as well. So, the pattern of examination will be well, I think this is too early to ask, because this is the first I can tell you that first live session. Maybe that in the last live session before the exams I will be in a position to tell you, but I think we will definitely like you to answer some of the questions which are objective type. Some of the questions we would also like you to solve. Some of the questions we would like also to write some of the answers. I think that is the perfect way of judging a person. And if you have gone through my lectures, I am sure you will be able to do very, very well. So, do not worry about the pattern of examination. It is not going to be very tough, but then you have to be to the point. You need not write, if the question is asked as to define, say, rolling radius, you should simply talk of rolling radius, define rolling radius only. You should not talk of the tractor and then horsepower and then ultimately you answer something else like that, you know. And we will talk more details once the question paper etc. are made. I think now it is too early to talk about that, but then definitely you should prepare a thorough way, because this certification will help you. I tell you, help you in the sense that you will get some confidence. If you are preparing for your GATE examination, it will help, it may help you. If you are preparing, even if you are not preparing, it will definitely help you in some of the say the appointment interviews etc. If you are not a agriculture engineer and if you are following my lecture on farm machinery, I am sure it will help you. Well, the questions, if you should not be worried about the questions, but you should go about the lectures which are given. You should go about 2-3 times, go through the lectures which we have discussed and talked. The PPT is one, you know, because when we saw through PPT, I have tried to discuss the essence of what is being given, because PPT is only material which will be there with you, but when you listen to what I have said, I have given my experience through what I have talked, and that is possible only if you listen to that. If you go only through the PPT, and then many things will remain unanswered, and questions will be there in your mind. You will not be in a position to master the art of what I have tried to make you understand about the machines, about the power sources, about the different features of the equipment, design aspects, the numerical problems that we have tried to solve and all that. You see the solution sets are very small. If you are to the point, if you can understand, you have to simply, you will be able to answer that. But you should not worry about the exams pattern and all, but all of you should try to attempt this. It will help you in several ways. I can assure you this much. Well, I think you may not have any question, but I can tell you that please follow the course, and if if there is a requirement for ergonomics, maybe we'll come up with the ergonomics course as well on this. There are books on ergonomics you can follow, which are there, but then the books and the lectures like this will be totally different. A lecture which I will be delivering to the agriculture engineers or the engineers who have no domain knowledge of ergonomics, which are in fact required in all sorts of engineering, all designs, whether we are talking of a electronic panel design, or you are talking of a industrial equipment design, or you are talking of industrial the whole system design. You are talking of a open space design, you are talking of a cabin design, you are talking of a say overhead working system design of a operator. So, various aspects are there, and this will require special lectures, particularly with respect to each aspects of ergonomics as such, because then the ergonomics course is a vast one. You might have seen people, the name itself is different, because some people say human engineering, some people say human factors engineering. So, even the cognitive science also comes into play, because when we are talking of ergonomics, we are talking of the human being and the machine. So, it will require specific lectures on certain aspects, and then maybe that if I get such queries, we will be in a position to offer a course on ergonomics. Maybe it will be in an industrial ergonomics or ergonomics applications in engineering design, which will be open and which will be helpful to anybody, whether he is talking of an agricultural equipment design, we are talking of a domestic equipment design, or you are talking of a industrial equipment design, because we have worked with the industries, several industries with regard to safety features and all that. So, we can use that knowledge and pass it on to you if there is a course on something like ergonomics in engineering design, which will be beneficial for all engineers for that matter. Well, why reaper binder are not effective in paddy harvesting and also clogging of paddy straw in blades? So, reaper binder are not effective in paddy harvesting. Well, there are various aspects of this actually, because reaper binder, see the moisture content, particularly this is happening because of the moisture content at which we are using. See, why we wanted to have a reaper binder is because after reaping, the job of lifting and then tying the knots and then making bundles was left. So, the reaper binder came into play. But then if you are using this for a slightly higher moisture content of the crop at that time, then this clogging is taking place. We have seen such things in blades. This will happen. This will happen because of the moisture content. Otherwise, if it is dry, it is not happening. If you have seen any dry crop being harvested, then you don't find this. The losses are minimal in this. How can we introduce precision farming in small farms? Yes, why not? In fact, see, when we are talking of precision farming in small farms, you can think of say a 1 hectare farm and how you can use that. In fact, we are talking, we are making here at IIT Kharagpur, we are talking with respect to various apps which can be introduced, and the farmer friendly apps can be created. We are working on that, and you can use this precision farming in small farms. For example, when we are talking of small farms are say 2 to 4 hectare, remember that. When we are talking marginal farms, these are less than 1 hectare, but when we are talking small farms, they are between 2 to 4 hectare. And for that when you are talking precision farming, there are many things. You are talking of the machines which can be utilized for only single operation. No, you should think of a single power source, and then you can think of attachable items which can be thought of apart from tillage. You can think of seeding, then fertilizer application, spraying, and then even for harvesting attachment, etc. So, why not think of a small power source and have these attachments? There you have because when we mean precision farming, we are talking of economize on the inputs and then maximize on the output. So, this is the possibility, and everybody is working on that. It's good. It is possible to have this on small farms, which we are talking of 4 hectares or so. Will it be possible to add a few implements working principle like mowers, balers, hay cutting, few market other than India, hay cutting market? No. Will be possible to add a few implements working principle like mowers, balers, hay cutting market other than in okay, full market other than India. You mean to say that adding in this course, I think few implements working principle. Now, working principle as such of mowers, if you are talking of mowers, we have talked of the hay harvesting, and there the principle has been talked of. If you go through that. We are talking of balers. Well, we have not talked of this. Then we said that it's possible. Because we wanted to limit this hay cutting, etc. We have not talked of. But then introduction in the sense that now is not possible, because we have recorded the whole thing and it is going on air. It's good that you have pointed out here. Maybe that when we talk of a new course, or when we talk of addition to this particular farm machinery and advanced level of farm machinery, we will talk of more details of this. Yes, it is a possibility. Thank you for asking the question. Remember that precision agriculture is the requirement of the future. All of you should think in this line. You should read more and more on sensors. You can take up the books and read on that. Take help of your teachers, take help of your electronics professor or your friends, and read more and more into these, because this is the future for you. You can think of startups in this. People are talking of startups which you can think of solving some of the problems of the farmers. If you are with regard to the sensors, using if you want to give precise the seeding, if you want to give some types of fruit harvesters, if you are talking of say some of the, you can talk of the net set cultivation where their equipment is even required there. Sensing equipment senses the temperature, humidity, the irrigation requirement, water requirement, drip irrigation. These are all, in fact, in small farms you can use this. People have, at Kharagpur we have a small farm on which we have used every technology there. It's just about 2 hectare farm and 2 acre farm, in fact just 1 hectare. And there we have used precision agriculture right from the water, use of water to how much of sunshine it is getting and all that. So, yes, you should think of, and you should think of the advanced technology. Don't worry about cost. Even if your teacher says that, well, for India it is not possible, please don't worry about that. You say that, yes, we will design something, we will make something which will work using the technology, new technology, which will be an innovation. A lot of today's government is talking of innovation, and we must talk of innovation because that is the future for our farmers. Don't worry about this farm, don't worry about this. You must have heard of custom hiring. If there is a machine for a small farm, I am sure the marginal farmers also will come forward and use it, because then they may not be in a position to buy the machine, but they can still hire those small machines on a renting basis or a custom hiring basis. So, why don't you think of that? Yes, you should think of those things. What is the approach to select metering mechanism for different crops like wheat, lentil, seeds, etc.? Well, what is the approach to select metering mechanism for different type? See, the metering mechanism, in fact, the metering mechanism, the approach should be that you should see what is the type of crop it is, what is the size of the grain. Well, lentil and oil seeds. Well, you should talk of the type of the seed. First, you should see what is the size of the seed, how it is, what is the size, and how much of moisture it will require, and things like that. But then what we have followed here, we are following the old concept for metering mechanisms. We are generally following the fluted roll type, where we can take care of that. Then we are following the for groundnut, in fact, we follow the you can say that our plate type. So, well, there is no hard and fast. It depends on what is convenient with regard to the size of the seed that you have. We are following the old concept for cost. What is this? Answer it. Yeah. Well, we are following the old concept for cost estimation of farm machinery. How much is possible in current scenario at the number of working hours? Life of machinery is not the same as of that time. Well, you see, the concept remains same. Look, why it has been given is to, you mean say that the scenario is different. What is the scenario total we are talking of? The number of hours have increased. We are talking of that because the machines remain same. Machines are same. The number of hours have increased, and the longevity of the machine has not increased as such. We are talking of 15 years for a tractor. We are talking of the 500 hours of the machinery, machines, equipment which we have. So, I do not think that the concept of estimation for machinery, cost estimation anyway, there is nothing like old or new. The concept is that what is fixed cost of the machine and what is the variable cost. So, this you have to take into consideration, whether it is a machine which is old machine. So, accordingly certain features will be added to that. If it is a new machine, the cost is there, and then how it will depreciate over a period of time. So, once your estimation of the cost, if you want to know per how much you should rent for, or what should be the when you want to give it for custom hiring, you will have to work on that only. You ask to any person, farmer, he will tell you that okay, this is the cost and this is depreciated over a period of time. So, I would like to charge this, putting certain percentage of his the variable cost and the cost of you can say profit which he wants to earn, he will put in that. So, the concept remains same. It is not that the old concept, this concept of charging anybody. Suppose you purchase a car today and you want to give it on rent, how will you charge? You will have to see what is the cost of the petrol, how much is the downtime it will have, if this is going for 4 hours, 5 hours, and accordingly what will be the charge for the driver if you are also giving the driver. So, you will look into the fixed cost, you will look into the different variable cost, and then add up, and then over the period of say definitely you will also think of the total cost of its storage and maintenance which you will require. So, there is nothing like old concept. The concept is same. How what are the inputs that you are going to maintain the car, and what are the equipment, and how you are going to rent it. So, the estimation of this is nothing like old and new. It is always feasible. The concept remains same. It is nothing like current scenario or old scenario. The number of hours have changed. If you want to see that way, that is all. Working hours, life of machinery is not the same as that of time. Why not? I do not know if somebody has made a tractor which says that it will last for 20 years. Nobody is saying. People are talking of tractors, then we are talking of innovations in tractors. and the tractor manufacturer would like that there should be replacement of tractors every 10 years or so. So, the equipment. Now, you see the type of equipment, materials which are being used. That is why I have in fact, one of the lectures I have taken on equipment, particularly the equipment, the machine, the material of the equipment and the parts of the equipment, the material. Particularly say when we are talking of a material, what sort of material a person has used. If he uses a material which is say for the blades, say for the threshers which you have used in the spikes, etc. So, if you are using it very cheap material, it will go off very soon. So, that way various things have come up in the market, and that is why we require that there should be a proper of this, I mean the testing certification is there before it is sold in the market. So, I am sure that the concept remains same. The estimation of if you feel that we have talked of the same which you might have read in the books, forget about the books. I have not talked of the books. In fact, I have just given so that you will get a reference and see the books, but it is followed that if I have got a equipment, how much I will charge. I will definitely know how much I have purchased it for, what sort of maintenance I will require, and what sort of input recurring costs I will require, variable costs. I will add that and I will charge. So, that is the concept. There is no change in the concept. Well, there is why sugarcane harvesting is not popular among Indian farmers. What do you mean why sugarcane harvesting is not popular among Indian farmers? Sugarcane harvesting, you mean to say that if the sugarcane crop is there, where is the question of not popular? In fact, if you are, I think you want to mean that sugarcane harvesters, because the if you are talking of harvester, then I would say that sugarcane harvesting is very tedious job, and it's people are doing by chopping, and it's a very tedious job. People are not available for that, and the harvesters which are available from outside are very, very costly, and that is why the farmers are not inclined to go for it. And in fact, now the only possibility of using such machines which are there is the use them on custom hiring basis. That is what I can say. If I mean the answer is sugarcane harvesters, because sugarcane harvesting is not popular among Indian farmers. No, harvesting is no. If you say only harvesting, then I can say that harvesting in the sense that it is a difficult task. Nobody wants to chop, maybe about 10 minutes he will work and then take rest, and people are not available. So, maybe the farmer does not get people for that, that could be one reason. If you are talking of harvesting machines, then machines are very costly. So, he may not go, but custom hiring, yes, it is possibility of having it custom hiring, but those machines are, we are still importing those machines. Can we attach a baler to combine harvester? Dual operation in one equipment? Well, you can try and check whether it is possible. It will become even very big equipment, big equipment, but then you have to think of the total cost of that, and think whether somebody who is thinking of the combined harvester, well, the straw is put on one side and this is there. So, there you will require, for a baler you will require this compactor and make the bales and then remove. So, that itself is a very big operation. So, in my opinion, it is better not to connect with that. That is what I would say. Well, subsoiler and chisel plow. Well, subsoiler we are going into very deep deep tillage, particularly 1.5 meter. You might have seen that we have gone, and chisel plow does not go to that, because when we are talking of chisel plow as such, it is not of that depth of operation. So, that is the basic difference as such. Well, good. Which type of ballasting is economical, either cast iron or water ballasting? Well, I think today the one which is mostly being followed is the weight which are being used. So, water ballasting I think hardly people are using now. So, you should still go for ballasting with the weights now. People are researching with water, going back to the other old concept. I think there is no need. If you are talking of ballasting, better talk of the total you can say the balancing of the total weight of the tractor as such. Okay. Please discuss the concept of break-even point analysis. Well, break-even point analysis, well, we have talked of this in when we are talking of the machinery, because when we are talking of how much break-even, see, you would like to say that, well, at what point I should be able to say that, well, at this point I will have a point where there is no loss or not high profit. So, you would like to have a break even with respect to a conceptual break even. If I say, I will put it in this way, not going into the example, the definition what you are talking of, but if you go into the understanding of what break even means. See, I would say that I have purchased something for a certain amount, say 100 rupees, something I have purchased, and I find that if this is giving me an output, or by either by selling or either by custom hiring, I get a certain amount. Say, if I say that I get every hour 25 rupees or so, then I would say that it is not very high, it is not very low, then I would try to put that point as a break even. If you see the graph which is given in the literature and the lecture which we have talked of, you will find we are talking of what is the total concept of the cost and what is the revenue or return that you are getting. And at some point we would like to maintain the number of hours and then the total output and then the total revenue that we are getting with respect to this. So, I mean, understand this break even point analysis is break even where you have that so much of hours of use, so much of fuel consumption and so much of the cost that you are getting or revenue that you are getting. So, that point at which you are finding that this is the point where you will say that, okay, we are getting even amount of hours of work, that is that will be termed in terms of the output, and fuel used, which is the input that you are giving, and how much is the revenue that you are getting from the total system. So, well, I think this question has come at the end, but then I would still say that go through the lecture, you will be in a position to understand this, but remain a clear mind, clear cut mind so far as these concerned is what you have got, how much is the total output that you are getting, and what is the revenue that you are getting. So, find out a common point that could be said as a break even point. Thank you very much for this. I think we will close here and look forward to meeting you and more other persons in the next live session, which will be after the another 4 weeks or so. Thank you very much.